Hi everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unpack the serious business behind the headlines. Today we're diving into Northern Trust's latest filing, and let's just say they're giving us a peek behind the curtain of their second quarter performance, to put it mildly. So the big news dropped on July 23rd, 2025. This isn't their annual report, but a current report, an 8K, meaning something important happened that shareholders need to know about right away. Think of it as a company's breaking news announcement to the SEC and the world. The company we're looking at is Northern Trust Corporation. They are a big name in financial services, offering wealth management, corporate and institutional services, and banking. Essentially, they manage money and provide financial solutions for individuals and businesses. Now let's get to the really juicy part. What's in this report? For Northern Trust, a key aspect is often how their stock is doing. Their common stock, which is basically a piece of ownership in the company, is traded on the Nasdaq under the symbol NTRS. They also have something called depository shares. This is a financial instrument where a share of preferred stock, which is a different type of ownership with usually fixed dividends, is divided into smaller pieces. People can buy these smaller pieces represented by depository shares, and the symbol for these is NTRSO, again traded on Nasdaq. The report kicks off by referencing a press release from July 23rd, 2025 about their earnings for the 3 and 6 months ending June 30th, 2025. This is the core of what we're interested in. How did they perform financially during that period? Imagine a company reporting on its report card for the last few months. Then there's a section on Regulation FD disclosure. This is pretty important. Regulation fair disclosure means that when a company releases important information to investors, they have to make sure everyone they've invested something first. So this part tells us they held a conference call and webcast on July 23rd, 2025 to talk about their financial results for the same period and other company matters. They also made presentation materials and financial trend documents available on the website. These external documents exhibits 99.2 and 99 finds. They also made presentation materials and financial trend documents available on the website. These external documents exhibits 99.2 and 99.9. This section basically lists all the extra documents attached to this report. We've got the press release, the presentation materials, and the financial trends. It also clarifies that this information, while shared, isn't considered officially filed in a way that makes them liable under certain sections of securities laws unless they specifically say so. Basically, they're sharing the info, but with the legal, we're just providing this disclaimer. This exhibit is the actual press release that details their financial performance. This is where the numbers are. And here we have the presentation materials. Think of this as the visual aids the executives used when they presented their results. It likely highlights key figures and strategies in a more digestible format. This one is for the financial trends. So beyond just one quarter, this document probably shows how Northern Trust has been doing over time, giving us a broader picture of their financial health and direction. And finally, the signature. David W. Fox Jr., the Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, has signed off on this report. This is the person who in many ways is responsible for the numbers and the financial story being told here. Now let's dig into what those financial trends might show. While this 8K doesn't contain the actual detailed tables like a much longer report, it points us to the press release and other documents where the numbers live. Based on typical earnings reports, we'd be looking for things like revenue, profit, earnings per share, and how their different business segments like wealth management or corporate services are performing. Imagine Northern Trust as a large ship. Are its engines running smoothly, generating good speed and power, revenue and profit? Or are there leaks or drags slowing it down? We want to see if their wealth management arm, for instance, is attracting more clients and assets under management, which would be like adding more cargo to the ship. Their corporate and institutional business is another engine, and we'd want to know if it's securing new contracts or providing valuable services to keep those clients happy. When we look at figures like earnings per share, a higher number generally means the company is more profitable for each share of stock. If it's growing, that's usually a good sign. If it's shrinking, that could mean profitability is taking a hit. We also need to consider costs. Are they managing their expenses efficiently, or are costs spiraling, eating into profits? It's like checking if the crew on our ship is being efficient with resources. For a company like Northern Trust, stability and trust are key. Their clients are entrusting them with significant sums of money. So a solid financial footing isn't just about profits. It's about demonstrating reliability. Are their capital reserves strong enough to weather any storms? This is something we've looked for in their more detailed financial statements, which this report points us towards. Looking at the external context, Northern Trust operates in a competitive financial landscape. They compete with other large banks and specialized wealth management firms. Recent economic conditions, interest rate changes, and market volatility all play a huge role in how well companies like Northern Trust can perform. For example, if interest rates are high, it can sometimes boost a bank's lending profits, but it can also make borrowing more expensive for their clients, potentially slowing down business activity overall. So what's the story here? This 8K filing is essentially saying that on July 23rd, Northern Trust released its Q2 2025 earnings. They presented this information through a press release and detailed materials, and they also held a call to discuss it. The core of the story lies within those exhibits, particularly the financial trends and the press release itself. They've shared their performance report card for the spring and early summer of 2025, and investors and analysts will be poring over those numbers to understand the company's current health and future prospects. Now, for my assessment based on what this filing tells us in terms of where to look next. Northern Trust is a well-established player. This filing confirms they are actively communicating their financial performance. According to regulatory requirements, the strength of their business lies in their trusted reputation and diversified financial services. However, like all financial institutions, they face risks from market fluctuations, regulatory changes, and the ever-present need to innovate and adapt to client demands. Their stated direction seems to be continuous communication and transparency, which is a positive sign for investor confidence. The key risk is always market downturns impacting the assets they manage and potentially client confidence. Opportunities lie in expanding their digital services and further solidifying their position in key wealth management demographics. Alright, that's our initial decode of this Northern Trust filing. To truly understand their performance, we'd need to dive deep into Exhibits 99.1, 99.2, and 99.30. What are your thoughts on what this announcement might mean for Northern Trust? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more corporate deep dives. Don't forget to join our Discord community, linked in the description for more interactive discussions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next decode.